I'm Sienna Williams, 34, a data analyst who spends her days untangling numbers for a logistics firm in Atlanta. My life's not glamorous. Think Target cardigans and instant coffee, but it's steady, predictable. Growing up, I was the kid who held things together when my parents' divorce tore our family apart. Dad walked out, Mom spiraled, and my younger sister, Ava, got all the attention to keep her from breaking. Me? I learned to be invisible, paying bills, fixing leaks, keeping the lights on. By the time I was 20, I was the family's backbone, wiring money for Mom's emergencies and Ava's dreams. Love meant sacrifice, or so I thought. One humid evening, I stood by a glittering pool in a ritzy Atlanta suburb, holding a tray of crab cakes like some underpaid server. It was Ava's engagement party, and I'd sent $4,000 to make it happen. String lights, a live band, a dessert bar with gold-dusted macarons. Ava, 28, glowed in a sequin dress, her influencer smile dazzling the crowd. Her fiancé, Noah, hovered nearby, all charm and veneered teeth, whispering to guests about their dream condo. Mom, Clara, lounged on a wicker chair, sipping Prosecco, her manicured nails catching the light. I hadn't tasted the Prosecco. My glass held flat soda, and my dress was a plain navy shift I'd worn to 3 work conferences. Sienna, hon, grab more ice from the garage? Clara called, barely glancing my way. Her voice had that syrupy tone she used when she wanted something. I nodded, biting back the urge to snap. Ava twirled for a photographer, her engagement ring, a rock I'd indirectly funded, flashing like a spotlight. She looked like she'd stepped out of a magazine. I looked like I'd stepped out of an office cubicle. Inside the house, I weaved through the kitchen, past caterers arranging charcuterie boards, and into the garage. It was a mess. Boxes of party supplies, old Christmas decorations, a deflated pool float. I found the ice bag stacked behind a crate of wine glasses and was hauling one out when I heard voices through the cracked side door. It's almost too easy, Ava said, her laugh sharp and bright. One more big transfer, and we're set for the condo. Clara's voice was smug. She won't even blink, Ava. Sienna's too busy crunching numbers to notice. My stomach twisted. I set the ice down, my hands trembling. God, our frumpy cash machine, Ava said, giggling. Can you imagine her trying to live a little? She'd probably buy a calculator with sequins. I froze, my fingers digging into the plastic ice bag. Frumpy cash machine. The words burned, slicing through years of quiet sacrifices. I'd paid off Mom's car loan, covered Ava's emergency rent for her influencer-worthy apartment, even funded Clara's wellness retreats. All while I lived in a 1-bedroom with thrift store furniture, skipping vacations to keep their Instagram-perfect lives afloat. Just keep her on the hook, Clara said, her glass clinking. We're so close to that condo. I backed away, heart hammering against my ribs. I didn't cry. I'd learned long ago tears didn't fix anything. Instead, I grabbed the ice and walked back to the party, my face a mask of calm. Ava was posing by the pool now, Noah's arm around her waist, both of them laughing for the camera. Clara waved me over. Sienna, sweetie, we need to chat about one last transfer. The condo's almost ours. I forced a smile. Sure, let's talk soon. Back in the kitchen, I set the ice down and pulled out my phone. I opened the Notes app, where I'd been keeping a list for months, a habit born from suspicion. I typed, overheard Ava and Clara frumpy cash machine, keep her on the hook, condo transfer. I scrolled up. Paid Clara's spa retreat, $5,000. Ava's brand photo shoot, $3,200. Mortgage payment, $22,000. The total? $150,000, drained from my savings over years. I looked out at the party. Ava spun for another photo, her followers eating up the fairy tale. Clara sipped her drink, basking in a life she hadn't earned. I'd always thought if I gave enough, they'd see me, really see me. But all I was to them was a cash machine, and I was done being unplugged. The morning after Ava's engagement party, I sat in my cramped apartment, staring at my phone's Notes app. The list of payments glared back at me. $150, 000, siphoned off for years to prop up my family's charade. Growing up, the divorce had left us fractured. Mom, Clara, turned bitter, chasing status to mask her pain. Ava, barely a teen then, got coddled with gifts and attention, molding her into someone who expected the world to bend to her whims. I'd stepped up, working overtime, thinking my sacrifices would hold us together. Instead, they'd turned me into their ATM, and those words, frumpy cash machine, kept echoing, each syllable a reminder of how small they'd made me feel. I couldn't keep doing this. But walking away wasn't enough. I needed a plan, someone who could outsmart their greed. That's when I thought of Lila Morgan, my high school friend who'd always been sharper than the rest of us. Back then, she'd been the one with color-coded binders and big dreams, while I was the quiet kid keeping my family from falling apart. Lila had gone to law school, built a career in financial law, and though we'd drifted apart, I'd seen her name pop up online. Articles about airtight contracts, estate planning, outwitting shady deals. If anyone could help me break free, it was her. I sent a text. Hey Lila, it's Sienna. I'm done being my family's cash machine. You still good with numbers? My thumb hovered over the send button, nerves prickling. What if she didn't care? But I hit send, and within minutes, my phone buzzed.
Sienna.
Hell yeah, I'm good with numbers.
Call me.
Let's bury them. We met at a hole-in-the-wall diner in Atlanta, the kind with sticky tables and $2 coffee refills. I wore my usual, black slacks, plain blouse, while Lila walked in like she owned the place, navy blazer sharp, hair in a sleek braid. She hugged me tight, her grin unchanged from high school. You look like you're ready to burn it all down, she said, sliding into the booth. Not burn, I said, stirring my coffee. Redirect. I laid it all out. The years of payments, the mortgage I'd been covering, the credit cards in my name they'd maxed out. The pool party, the laughter, frumpy cash machine. My voice cracked once, but I pushed through, showing her the notes app, the screenshots of texts, the bank transfers. Lila's eyes narrowed, her pen flying across a legal pad. You've got receipts, she said, almost impressed. This is gold. I didn't start tracking it until I suspected they were lying. I admitted. But once I heard them at the party, I knew I wasn't just helping, they were mocking me. Lila leaned back, sipping her iced tea. Here's the play. You make that final transfer they're begging for, but it's not going to their condo. We set up a shell property, a fake listing. I've got a guy who can make it look legit, escrow account, and all. You wire the money to a private trust in your name only. They'll think it's for their dream home, but it's locked away where they can't touch it. I blinked. You can do that? She smirked. I've done worse. My heart raced, not from fear, but from the thrill of it. For years, I'd been the one saying yes, signing checks, swallowing my pride. Now I was rewriting the script. What's next? I asked. We unravel their world, Lila said. You've got power of attorney on their accounts, right? Mortgage, utilities, some credit cards. I nodded. They'd push me to sign everything, banking on my good credit. Perfect, Lila said. We'll start shutting it down quietly. Stop the mortgage autopay. Let the bills pile up. By the time they notice, the trust will be secure, and they'll have nothing to stand on. I exhaled, feeling a weight lift and a new one settle. This one sharper, purposeful. Is this legal? I asked. They've been taking your money under false pretenses, Lila said. We're just redirecting what's yours. Legal, airtight, and frankly, poetic. I laughed, the sound surprising me. For the first time in years, I felt like I was holding the reins. Let's do it, I said. Back home, I opened my banking app. Ava had texted earlier, all emojis and fake sweetness. Sis, can we do the condo transfer today? It's the dream. I stared at the message, my thumb hovering. Then I typed, got it covered. Sending today. I hit send, my pulse steady. The game was on and I was done playing the fool. A few days later, I sat in my cubicle, the hum of the office printer in the background, my phone buzzing with Ava's latest Instagram story. She'd posted a photo of her and Noah holding a tiny silver key charm, captioned, New Home Vibes. Thanks to my MVP sis. Clinking glasses, my name was tagged like I was some corporate sponsor. I stared at it, my chest tight with a mix of anger and anticipation. They thought they'd won. They had no idea I was about to pull the plug. Lila had set everything in motion. She created a shell property, a fake condo listing in an upscale Atlanta neighborhood, complete with glossy photos and a dummy escrow account. It's convincing enough to fool Noah's shady real estate guy, she'd told me over coffee. You send the $80,000, it lands in the trust, and they'll think it's for their dream home. I nodded, my hands steady as I initiated the wire transfer from my banking app. The amount was enough to cover a down payment and taxes, if the condo were real. I hit send, and my phone pinged with a confirmation. Done. That same morning, I'd quietly canceled the auto pay on Clara and Ava's mortgage. I'd been covering it for years, telling myself it was easier to pay directly for tax purposes. Truth was, I never trusted them not to blow the money on designer shoes or another wellness retreat. Now, I let the payments lapse, no warning, no explanation. The bank would notice soon enough. Lila met me at her office later that day, a sleek space in downtown Atlanta with floor-to-ceiling windows. She slid a folder across her desk. "Trust documents," she said. "The $80,000 is secure in your name. They can't touch it. And here's the fake listing." She showed me a website with a polished photo of a modern condo, all glass and marble. It looked so real I almost believed it myself. What if they check the escrow? I asked, my voice low, like I was afraid Clara might hear me across town. "They won't," Lila said. "Noah's guy is too sloppy to dig, and Ava's too busy posing for her followers. Besides, the account's set to dissolve in a week. By then, the mortgage notices will hit." I leaned back, my heart pounding, not with fear anymore, but with something new. Power. For years, I'd been the one scrambling, apologizing, fixing their messes. Now I was the one moving the pieces. "What's next?" I asked. "We wait," Lila said, her eyes glinting. "They'll celebrate, post about their new home, dig themselves deeper. Meanwhile, I'm filing paperwork to untangle you from their accounts, credit cards, utilities, everything. You're the one with the credit score, Sienna. They leaned on you too long." I nodded, picturing Ava's latest post, her smug smile as she spun a fairy tale for her followers. I'd seen her stories that morning, her in a sundress, standing in an empty lot with a sold sign, Noah grinning beside her. "Manifestation works, babes." The caption read. I'd almost laughed. They were building their dream on sand, and I was the one holding the tide. Back at my apartment, I checked my phone. Clara had texted, "Sienna, you're a lifesaver. Condo's almost ours. Can we grab brunch to celebrate?" I stared at the message, my fingers itching to type the truth. Instead, I wrote, "Sure, let's do Sunday." I hit send, then opened my notes app, adding a new line. "Transfer sent to trust." Mortgage autopay stopped. The list was growing, each entry a step toward freedom. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. My apartment was small, the walls bare except for a single framed photo of me and Lila from high school, laughing at a football game. I'd always been the quiet one, the reliable one, the one who didn't make waves. But now, I felt something shift inside me, a spark of defiance, fanned by Lila's plan and my own anger. I wasn't just protecting my money, I was reclaiming my life. A week later, the house of cards started crumbling. I was at my desk, crunching numbers, when my phone buzzed with a text from Ava. "Hey, something's weird with the condo transfer. Noah's guy says the escrow's empty. Can you check?" I stared at the message, my pulse steady. Empty was exactly the point. I typed back, "Send it to the account you gave me. Double check with Noah." I hit send, leaning back in my chair, imagining her panic. Lila had warned me the foreclosure notices would hit soon. I'd stopped the mortgage payments 3 weeks ago, and the bank wasn't patient. That afternoon, I drove by Clara and Ava's house, a sprawling suburban place I'd kept afloat for years. A bright red envelope peeked out of the mailbox. Foreclosure warning. Immediate action required. I didn't touch it. I didn't need to. The truth was loud enough. That evening, I walked into their kitchen unannounced, using the spare key I'd never returned. Clara was at the counter, flipping through a stack of bills, her face pale. Ava sat at the table, scrolling her phone, her usual glow dimmed. They both froze when they saw me. "Sienna?" Clara said, her voice tight. "What are you doing here?" I set my bag down, slow and deliberate. "Thought we should talk about the condo." Ava's head snapped up. "Yeah, what's going on?" "The transfer didn't go through." Noah's freaking out. I crossed my arms. "The condo's not real. The listing was fake. The money's safe, though, in a trust in my name." Clara's mouth dropped open. Ava stood, her chair scraping. "You lied to us?" "No," I said, my voice calm but sharp. "I followed your instructions. You just didn't know what you were asking for. You tricked us." Clara snapped, stepping toward me. I didn't flinch. "You called me a frumpy cash machine. Said you'd keep me on the hook." I figured it was time to cut the line. Ava's face turned red. "You're ruining everything. We had plans, Sienna. Contracts." "With who?" I shot back. "Noah's shady real estate guy? The one using a fake license number." Ava froze, her eyes darting to Clara, who sank into a chair. "You can't do this," Clara whispered. "We're your family." "Family?" I said, my voice cracking for the first time. "I gave you years of my life, my savings, my credit. And you laughed behind my back, mocked me while I paid for your fantasy." Ava pointed at me, shaking. "You're going to fix this." "No," I said, stepping closer. "You're going to face the consequences." I turned and walked out, my heart pounding but my head clear. That night, Lila called. "It's done," she said. "The foreclosure notice hit the county website. Public record. And I sent your audio clip to a gossip blog, the one from the pool party. I'd recorded it on instinct, their voices clear. Frumpy cash machine, keep her on the hook." I'd send it to Lila, just in case. Now it was out there. By morning, the blog had posted, "Influencer Ava Bennett's lavish life funded by sister's wallet. Leaked audio tells all." The clip spread like wildfire, comments flooding in. She called her sister that? Disgusting. Unfollowing Ava. What a leech. Ava's follower count plummeted, and her biggest brand sponsor dropped her with a statement. "We don't support financial abuse." I watched it unfold from my apartment, my laptop open, a glass of cheap wine in hand. For years, I'd been invisible, the one who paid for their spotlight. Now the spotlight was on them, and it was burning. I felt a rush, not just of anger, but of victory. I wasn't just taking back my money. I was taking back my voice. The sun was rising over my new fixer-upper in the Atlanta suburbs, a modest two-bedroom with peeling paint and a view of a quiet creek. I'd bought it with the trust money, the $80,000 Lila had locked away, plus some savings I'd stashed for myself. The place was a mess, half-installed floors, a leaky faucet, but it was mine, built on my terms. I stood on the porch, coffee in hand, watching the light dance on the water. For the first time in years, I felt still, like I'd finally exhaled. My family's world had collapsed. The foreclosure notice turned into an eviction order, and I'd watched from across the street as moving trucks pulled up to their old house. Clara tore down the orange notice taped to the door, yelling at Ava, who dragged a suitcase and a hoodie, her phone silent for once. Neighbors gawked, whispering, one snapping a photo. Ava screamed at them to mind their own business, but the damage was done. Their accounts were frozen. The IRS was circling for back taxes on unreported gifts I'd given them, and Ava's influencer career was in tatters. Her last sponsor had dropped her after the audio clip went viral, now trending on TikTok with #FrumpyCashMachine. I didn't gloat, but I didn't look away either. They'd called me weak, boring, a means to an end. Now, they were the ones scrambling, moving into a cramped apartment with a cousin, no marble countertops in sight. Noah had bailed, his name tied to the fake escrow, facing wire fraud charges. Ava was alone, her perfect facade shattered. One morning, Clara showed up at my new place, holding a grocery store pie, her eyes tired. "Sienna, can we talk?" she asked. I stepped outside, closing the door. What's there to say? She held out the pie. I thought we could sit maybe. I'm not hungry, I said, my voice steady. She lowered it, her hand shaking. We were wrong, Sienna. I see that now. You saw me as a paycheck, I said. You mocked me, made me feel like I didn't belong in my own family. Her eyes welled up. I was trying to keep us together. No, I said, crossing my arms. You were keeping your dream alive, and I paid the price. She flinched, tears spilling. I miss you. You miss the money, I said. It wasn't cruel, it was true. I turned and walked back inside, leaving her on the porch. A week later, a letter arrived, handwritten, postmarked from a rehab facility. Ava's words were shaky. Sienna, I messed up. I let Mom turn me into someone I hate. I thought being loud, perfect, would make me enough. I hurt you, and you didn't deserve it. I'm trying to fix myself. I hope you're happy. I folded it and pinned it to a corkboard in my new office, next to the eviction notice. Not out of spite, but as a reminder. I'd survived their betrayal, and I was done carrying their weight, and my phone buzzed with a voicemail from a producer. Sienna, we're with Empower Studios. Your story's everywhere. Women reclaiming financial power. We'd love you for a docuseries. Another call came from a podcast, Women and Wealth, inviting me to a panel on family financial boundaries. I said yes to both, my voice steady, a smile creeping in. I wasn't just a data analyst anymore. I was a story, a voice, a force. I'd turn the upstairs room into a workspace, with a desk, bookshelves, and a window overlooking the creek. There, I launched No More Cash Cow, a nonprofit for women escaping financial abuse. The website went live one evening, my fingers trembling as I clicked publish. Welcome to No More Cash Cow. We're done being used. We're building futures together. The first sign-up came within hours, then dozens more. Women like me, tired of being drained, ready to stand tall. Ava went live one last time, her face bare, voice soft. I was cruel, she said. I took advantage of my sister.
I'm sorry.
The comments were brutal, but some were kind, urging her to grow.
I didn't watch to the end.
Forgiveness wasn't my goal. Freedom was. The creek shimmered outside my window, my house smelling of fresh paint and possibility. I didn't hear from Clara or Ava again, not after the letter, not after the IRS notices. They'd faded into their consequences, and I'd stepped into my own light. I wasn't the frumpy cash machine anymore. I was Sienna Williams, and I'd built a life that was undeniably mine. To everyone who's followed this journey, thank you. You've walked with me through betrayal, battles, and breakthroughs. If my story hit you, hit that subscribe button and join us, where every step forward is a story of grit, heart, and a fresh start. Keep building your own truth, and I'll meet you on the other side.